All the promise and all the challenges of the Massachusetts economy in 2014 meet these days at a massive construction site in Brighton, just off the turnpike as you drive into Boston. AIM member New Balance Athletic Footwear broke ground in September for its $500 million Boston Landing project, a 1.45 million square foot health and wellness district. The project will include a new company headquarters, state-of-the-art athletic complex, hotel, restaurants, retail space, and parking. New Balance is even taking the unprecedented step of building a new commuter rail station on the tracks of the Framingham-Worcester line that abut the site. So let's take a look.
Being a manufacturer is embedded in who we are. It's the DNA, it's at the core of our company. And in 1972, when our current owners bought the company, we were making 30 pairs of shoes a day. Today, we make more than 30 million pairs of shoes a year. What separates us from everybody else in our field is that we're the last company that still makes athletic shoes in this country. So we have 5 factories, 2 of them here in Massachusetts, 3 in Maine, and a lot of that growth has been in the last 10 years. We've basically doubled in size in the last 5 years, and we think we'll double again in the next 5. But because of who we are and because of the tremendous growth we've had, there is nothing more important to us than being a good community partner and being a leader where we are. We had an opportunity to acquire land next door, and we could really do something transformative in this neighborhood. And so we're going to build a new headquarters building, we're going to build a couple of other office buildings, we're going to put a hotel in this space, and we're going to have a train station that we worked on in collaboration with the city and state to make sure that it was sited here. So it's really a great example of a public-private partnership and how when the right project comes together and the right people get in place and people have open and honest conversations about what's important, a project can get done. In places like Massachusetts, we need to be competitive. We made a commitment to our workforce here. When everybody else picked up stakes and moved overseas, we thought it was an opportunity for growth, and we went out and we doubled our manufacturing. We purchased new factories, new equipment, new machinery, and we now have over 1,350 people making shoes here today, which is our highest ever. You know, we really need to have regulatory schemes and other things in place and costing and a tax structure that makes sense for people to not only want to stay here, but for new companies to come here as well. Manufacturing is on the rise. Things are going to happen. Massachusetts needs to be poised and ready to embrace that as that does happen.
What a great story. The New Balance project may be just a hole in the ground right now, but it represents all we dare to hope about the Massachusetts economy. A 107-year-old manufacturing company uses technology to evolve and grow in the new economy, providing great jobs to 1,350 men and women. It is the only athletic footwear company in the world determined to make its products in the United States through intelligence, lean manufacturing, and efficiency. But the project also lays bare our worst fears about the economic future of Massachusetts. The governor of Ohio called New Balance a dozen times, offering generous incentives for the company to move its headquarters to that state. What will happen if the next growing company does not share New Balance's loyalty to Massachusetts? What if the next company does not have the resources to improve the transportation infrastructure by building a train station? And finally, will there be enough skilled employees in Massachusetts to engineer and build the high-tech running shoes New Balance will use to double its size during the next 5 years? As you know, Associated Industries in Massachusetts engages in public policy work on behalf of employers who provide jobs to nearly 650,000 Massachusetts residents. We do so guided by the belief that only a vibrant private sector economy creates opportunities that binds the social, governmental, and economic foundations of our Commonwealth. The creation of a job and a person's ability to do it weaves together every important aspect of social and economic stability: the desire for a better life, the ability to support a family, the confidence to start a business, and the need for efficient government management of services such as education, health care, and public safety. Economic growth strengthens these bonds. The employer buys new equipment, workers use pay increases to send their children to college, and communities find ways to fix broken water mains. Economic downturns, such as the one that unfolded 5 years ago, strain the bonds between employers and the community, which suddenly worries about layoffs, the value of savings, and municipal budget cutbacks. So which way is the Massachusetts economy pointing as we enter 2014? Are we entering a new balanced economy, poised for new buildings, new jobs, new discoveries, new opportunities, and new prosperity? Or do we remain mired in a lackluster economy, struggling against the loss of federal defense and research funds, a continuing recession in Europe, and an unemployment rate that for the first time in many years now stands higher than the rest of the country? There is ample evidence for both optimists and pessimists. Do you like your glass half full? If you do, then you'll be glad to know that U.S. stock markets posted their largest annual gains since 1997 last year, with the Dow rising more than 26% on stronger than expected economic growth. The economy created an average of 195,000 jobs per month, and the U.S. unemployment rate fell from 7.9 to 6.7%. In Massachusetts, economic output grew 3.5% during the third quarter, while Bay State venture capital firms raised $5.4 billion for new investments, more than triple the amount raised in 2012. Or do you prefer your glass half empty? If so, then you've probably noticed that the Massachusetts unemployment rate rose from 6.4% in April to 7% in December, as the innovation economy that outperformed the rest of the nation for a half a decade slipped into neutral. More than 250,000 Massachusetts residents remain out of work, and sequestration alone cost the Commonwealth an estimated 14,000 jobs in fiscal 2013. It's no wonder that the monthly AIM Business Confidence Index for 2013 looked like this. Employers are clearly as puzzled about the course of the recovery as anyone else. AIM believes it is time for Massachusetts to restart its economic engine. It's time to build the momentum needed to navigate beyond what Ray Torto, chairman of our Board of Economic Advisors, recently called a lost year for business confidence. As the campaign for governor of Massachusetts takes shape, the employer community believes that two public policy issues hold the key to accelerating job growth and putting some of the 250,000 Massachusetts residents who are currently unemployed back to work. One is excessive business cost, which in a global business environment challenge employers daily. And the second is a pervasive shortage of trained and qualified employees. So first, let's look at business costs. If you think business costs don't affect jobs, take a look at the frenetic competition among multiple states to land the New Balance project. Or consider the recently concluded free-for-all among a dozen states to land the new Boeing 777X manufacturing line. In such a competitive environment, can Massachusetts, or will Massachusetts, provide a welcoming business climate for the new and developing enterprises that will become the New Balances, the Fidelities, and the EMCs of the next 50 years? Massachusetts must first and foremost continue the progress it has made to control the most troublesome non-wage cost confronting employers, and that's health insurance. AIM supported the Commonwealth's Healthcare Cost Control Law of 2012, which linked medical spending to the overall rate of economic growth, and we are hopeful that healthcare spending will not exceed the 3.6% benchmark for 2013. Insurance premiums have moderated nationally, increasing at their lowest rate in a decade last year. More employers are offering coverage that allow workers to better manage their health costs, and employees are increasingly seeking high-quality care in moderate-cost community settings. It's a good start, but the hard work of solving the health insurance crisis is just beginning. Unfortunately, healthcare analysts expect premium increases to accelerate during 2014 as the economy strengthens and the Affordable Care Act is integrated into the health delivery system. In Massachusetts, healthcare spending still accounts for a staggering 16.6% of the state economy. Healthcare spending per capita in Massachusetts is 36% higher than the national average. Even more staggering is the fact that a recent study by the state's Health Policy Commission found that somewhere between 21 and 39% That's $27 billion is wasted money on high-end care that's not appropriate or is not good for the patient. And thousands of small employers in Massachusetts entered 2014 facing the prospect of double-digit premium increases because of key provisions of the federal health care reform law, which threatened to accelerate the already burdensome cost of providing insurance to employees. AIM calls upon state officials and our congressional delegation to continue to seek a waiver from these onerous provisions. AIM believes that Massachusetts must address the cost of health insurance in a meaningful way to ensure the Commonwealth remains an attractive place to do business. But we also urge lawmakers to address other business costs that set Massachusetts out of the economic mainstream. First, we call upon the legislature and Governor Patrick to freeze the unnecessary $500 million increase in unemployment insurance rates that took effect on January 1st. The Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund, used to pay benefits to jobless residents, showed a balance of $800 million in November and needs no additional infusion of funds. And we further call upon Beacon Hill to finally make structural reforms to an antiquated and really expensive unemployment insurance system. We call upon lawmakers to resist the temptation to increase the tax burden. We seek to avoid a repeat of last year's ill-fated expansion, later repealed, of the sales tax levy on software and computer services. That tax made national news, unfortunately, and set back the Commonwealth's reputation as an innovation-friendly state. And finally, we call upon the Commonwealth to do everything it can to relieve the burden of electric rates that are among the highest in the nation. The objective overall is to create a uniformly vibrant ecosystem of interdependent companies, large and small, Berkshires to Boston, bistros to biotech, that together create the moments when a job opportunity meets the person who needs it. It must be an ecosystem that allows a family sports apparel company like 47 Brand in Westwood to come full circle. From its roots with two Italian immigrants selling newspapers outside Fenway Park to a $200 million a year business today. So let's take a look at their story.
It's kind of the true American success story. My father and uncle were identical twins, and they didn't speak any English. Shoeshine boys, flower salesmen, and they started hustling around Fenway Park.
And then all of a sudden he said, you know what? Maybe these Red Sox people will buy Red Sox stuff. And he was the first one in the country to make a Major League Baseball pennant.
We had great models. My father and uncle were best friends, and they worked together side by side. So we saw what a business, in a family business, how it can work. And when it works, there's nothing better, because no one will have quite the passion, the instinct, the love of owning your own business and being brothers within the business.
So we try to always hire within, as opposed to finding that free agent who didn't take us to the dance. So we look at this core of people and said, these are the guys that took us to the promised land. They're going to be the guys that are going to go forward with us.
We have, total over 200 employees, but we still try to create a family dynamic, so we're rooting for our employees to succeed.
All these costs are so expensive being in Massachusetts, and we're looking for whatever help we can get to ease the pain and keep us here, because we're approaching it to be a $200 million company, and Massachusetts wouldn't want to lose us.
Being a small to medium-sized business in this environment is very challenging, because the marketing muscle that these major brands can bring to bear is very different than we can. So we have to do it through product, through creativity, through innovation, through execution. Social media has been a sort of a great equalizer for our business. We're projecting in the next 5 years to double our business. So we probably hired 25 this year alone, maybe even 30. I could see us hiring another 25 or 30 next year, and sort of that keep going. So we're on a fast track growth, and we don't even think we've touched the surface of where we can go or where we're going to get to.
Another great Massachusetts success story, and I'd ask you to join me in welcoming 47 Brand's Chief Operating Officer, Joe Keane, who's with us here this morning. So the second key to accelerating job growth is solving the troubling paradox of persistent worker shortages in a high unemployment economy. If you ask any Massachusetts employer about what worries him or her most, you'll hear the same response. I can't find enough qualified people to run my business. It's a concern shared by technology and bioscience enterprises in Cambridge, manufacturing companies in the Pioneer Valley, healthcare providers in Worcester, and restaurants and hotels throughout the Commonwealth. Worker shortages caused by both skill gaps and demographic changes are pervasive throughout the Massachusetts economy. Indeed, the 2013 Massachusetts Job Vacancy Survey indicated that 5% of all jobs in the Bay State, 135,000 positions in all, stood vacant at year end. What's wrong with this picture? Well, we have urban high schools where half of all students drop out before graduating, while employers located less than a mile from these schools remain desperate for smart, motivated workers. With 250,000 Massachusetts residents unemployed, why are technology companies in Cambridge paying their workers thousands of dollars in referral bonuses for new employees? And the picture doesn't improve as we look into the future. Northeastern University economist Barry Bluestone estimates that 100,000 skilled manufacturing jobs in Massachusetts will open up in the next decade as older workers retire. Meanwhile, the number of young people graduating from Massachusetts high schools is projected to fall 9% by 2020. AIM challenges employers and the Commonwealth to work together to make 2014 the year Massachusetts finally begins to solve the worker dislocation crisis once and for all. Innovative and creative initiatives are taking place throughout the Commonwealth. It's now time to take these success stories and scale them into a comprehensive solution. Massachusetts needs first and foremost to complete the task of creating public schools that effectively prepare students for the rigors of the knowledge economy. We may have the best schools in the United States, but we do not lead the world. And in fact, in some areas, we're losing ground. AIM members recently participated in a survey about the steps schools need to take to improve, and the business community will soon offer specific reform proposals based on international benchmarking. But our greatest human capital deficiency compared to other countries comes in training both students and current workers to master the demanding skills that drive areas such as high-value manufacturing, information technology, and healthcare. Precision manufacturing companies in Greater Springfield struggle to find men or women who can operate 5-axis machining centers under just-in-time conditions. An online educational startup in Kendall Square would hire 40 programmers today if they were available. And the Brookings Institute reports that many of the people filling jobs in healthcare are not even trained here. Half of our medical scientists and 40% of pharmacists in Massachusetts are foreign-born. The good news is that employers in various sections of the state are taking matters into their own hands. Let's look at just a few examples. The Manufacturing Advancement Center in Worcester has developed a training pathway for manufacturing skills that can take individuals from basic knowledge through 26 credits of an Associate of Science degree in Applied Manufacturing Technology. State government, to its credit, recently announced 4 awards totaling more than $1.3 million to support regional programs to train unemployed and underemployed individuals, including veterans, for careers in the state's advanced manufacturing industry. Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in Boston has established pipeline programs to attract, train, enhance, and retain a talented technical and professional workforce. And nearly 24 Massachusetts school systems recently participated in a program known as Hour of Code, a nationwide campaign to introduce millions of students to programming during Computer Science Education Week. AIM supports these efforts and urges the private and public sectors to expand such creative initiatives to benefit the entire Commonwealth. We also look forward to working with education officials on ideas to integrate computer science courses into the high school curriculum and to convince students and parents that advanced manufacturing represents a challenging and rewarding path to success. The alternative is a future in which the high-octane companies run out of human fuel they need to remain in the innovation fast lane. This morning, I've touched upon two of the primary challenges facing Massachusetts employers: high business costs and persistent worker shortages. AIM believes these issues must be addressed to maintain the growth we have finally achieved, accelerated, and create the thousands of new jobs we still badly need. We must embrace and expand policies to drive growth and reform or modernize policies that threaten to choke it off. So with that, I very much look forward to hearing what our panel of business leaders has to say about these important issues. And please don't be shy. We want to know what you think as well. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and let me turn the program back over to our great moderator, Anthony Silva.